So, welcome to Corporate Bhagavad Gita reading. We'll start with the prayers which are on my screen. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's continue where we were. We were in the 10th chapter. And we had completed 4 verses from it. So in the 9th chapter, Krishna says, perform devotional service to me. And the 10th chapter, he explains how to see things as they are and how to see him in everything. So Krishna in everything, that is the aim of this chapter. The next chapter after this, 11th, will be everything inside Krishna. So we discussed that he is the source of the devatas and the rishi munis. So they also don't know him. And then all these qualities were made by Krishna. We discussed, I think we just completed half of it. So we'll go there. Must have completed this. So we'll continue from here. Okay. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of the mind, happiness, distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, infamy. All these qualities of living beings are created by me alone. All the good and bad qualities both are created by Krishna. So if Krishna created these qualities, how do the living entities get these qualities? depends on the modes that they are. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun. We get a particular type of body. Okay. Let me explain you. Yeah. So body is like a suit around us, around the soul. So it gives certain features, certain flexibilities, um, certain things we can do, certain things we cannot do, right? So when the three modes are around us, we will be attracted to certain qualities and not be attracted to other qualities, like that. So if we are in mode of goodness, then intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, delusion, this will be more, the soul will be more attracted to this because the body is like that. But if somebody is in tamoguna, then fear, death, all these things will be um, will be one attracted to. So it depends on the modes that we are. Okay. Um, I think we completed this. Now we'll go into this. Control of senses means senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. So if it is says unnecessary personal enjoyment, it means it has to be used for necessary personal enjoyment. Getting? So all the senses that we have, hands, legs, even touch, eating, hearing, we need all this because our body needs those kind of inputs. Without that, we cannot live. Can we live without food? No, right? We have to intake food. The senses have to work. The ear has to hear. If we are in a silent room, we can be there for some time, but after that, our ears will say, I want to hear something. I want to hear something musical, this, that. So our senses have our needs. They have their needs. The body has their needs, and that need should be provided. If we go beyond the needs, like like you know um, like let's take eating. According to our body, we may require certain calories, certain food stuffs, right? But if we overeat, then we are not controlling ourselves. Then it becomes unnecessary. Overeating and all that becomes unnecessary. So unnecessary things should be avoided. So whatever is unnecessary for the senses should be avoided. It could be the limit. The senses have certain limit. Like we were talking about eating, it has certain limit. Okay, but there are certain other senses where it will be decided based on how to utilize them. Hmm? How to utilize them. Like here, the senses are there. They are getting directed towards various objects. Hmm? And here, the same senses are being directed to Krishna and his service. So this is necessary, and sometimes this becomes unnecessary. Why sometimes? Because sometimes we have to take things, right? We have to wear, and we have to so many things we have to do. So our bodily needs are there. So only take care of the bodily needs. Rest, engage them in Krishna's service. That is what it means. That means full control of our senses. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. See, our body needs to sleep. How many hours do we need to sleep? 7, 8 hours, right? Babies may sleep more, but let's talk about adults. It is recommended 7, 8 hours, and that also in a particular time. So if we do those things in that particular time and for that particular time period, then that is all allowed. There is no prohibition for certain things. But if we sleep the whole day and we sleep at the wrong time, then there will be problems to the body. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. This is called shama. Unnecessary thoughts. If we are not able to control our thoughts, then what happens? Stress develops, right? And some people, they develop such a stress that they can't even stay at a moment. They are um, they are so disturbed. They may sometimes get suicidal thoughts. They may just become mad or something. So if unnecessary thoughts are put in ourselves, right, then there'll be big problems. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. This is a misuse of thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings. So whatever is necessary to keep body and soul together, for that much, how much money is required, you think about it. Overthinking about money is a problem. When you are in your shop, when you are in your office, when you are in stock market, when the time of stock market starts and ends, that time it's okay to think. But after that, if you keep continuing thinking, then it's a problem. The mind should be used for spiritual advancement also. Should not be just used for money and one advancement. This money helps us in our daily needs and future needs. It has its own limits. It cannot be eternally with us. Like there's this one stock market investor who is no more. He earned something like 20,000 crores. 20,000 crore. I mean, he was that smart and he was that intelligent in creating money. But once he left, that money is still there, here only, and he has gone. The soul has gone. So that's why we should know that how much to put effort in it. Otherwise, too much of effort, we will risk our spiritual life. So we should not risk our spiritual life. Money is needed. Agreed, money is needed, but it should not be done to the extent that our spiritual life is affected by it. What to speak of spiritual life? Even family life is affected, isn't it? If you work too much, don't come at home and all that, family life is affected. No time with children, no time with wife or husband. What is the use of all this thing then? The power of thought should be developed in the association of persons who are authorities in scriptures, saintly people and spiritual masters, and those whose thinking is highly developed. So our thoughts should be invested with these people who are authorities in scriptures, with devotees, with guru. That will help. Sukham, pleasure or happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for cultivation of spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So we should find pleasure in Krishna consciousness, in spirituality. What does this mean is, there are pleasures outside of this. In our material life, definitely there is some pleasure with the family, some pleasure with the office and all that. But we should be more interested in the pleasure when we get in spiritual knowledge or spiritual association. The reason for is the pleasures that are there in the material world, right? They are duality in nature. Means now it will be happy, but after some time there will be distress. So one should not get carried away with those. Instead, one should focus on eternal spiritual happiness that one gets in spiritual in spiritual association. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress, in that which is unfavorable for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So all of these material pleasures and all that, they can become painful also. So we should not be so much getting into it. We should keep some distance out of it. Little bit is fine. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted. Anything unfavorable should be rejected. It's a very nice statement. Whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, accept it. But whatever is unfavorable, reject it. Can you think of some example? It is not favorable for you. Even though you may have the capacity for it, but it is still not favorable for your Krishna consciousness. Any example that you can think of? Any example you can think of? No? Let's say, um, let's say you're a doctor, and now you have to read, medical books. Is it favorable for Krishna consciousness?
Uh,
Is it
Prabhuji,
favorable? Yeah.
it is because it is a knowledge for the doctor, so
Hmm.
he will treat somebody, so he will get benefited. So some
Right.
positive things will come. Yeah, Prabhuji.
Good. See, whatever is needed for your profession and some growth area that you're looking, it is fine. Now, um, doing exercise. Is it favorable for Krishna consciousness?
Prabhuji, little exercise is favorable because it will keep the body
Fit, right?
healthy. Yeah,
Yeah.
fit. Yeah,
Good.
Prabhuji.
Too much of exercise,
That is not favorable, Prabhuji, because you're.
unless it's your job in the gym.
Yeah, correct.
But if it is not that much, then why to spend that much time? You spend how much is required. Yeah. See, even in exercise, right? They don't say you have to do it every day or something. You have to give rest to your body also. Anyway, the point is like this: we decide on the case of favorable, unfavorable things. If it our job, if it is necessary at that point of life, then, and if it is necessary to maintain our spiritual life also, then we accept it. If it is not, then we don't. Um,
Like Prabhuji, political discussions, they are wastage.
hey,
Yeah.
unless one is involved in politics, unless one is in the higher, when one has job in the government or something like that, right?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Then it becomes okay. But you know, too much of political talk is also not good. Like
Yeah,
breaking news and news, 24-hour news. You don't need 24-hour news.
yeah,
Some time is okay. Rest of the time you can give it to your personal needs, family needs, and spiritual needs. So like that, we start thinking in all these terms. Um, so I was talking about a doctor. Now let's say the doctor starts reading. Well, I talked about profession, right? But unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. There are certain things which are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. One thing is the Mayavadi philosophy. That is not at all favorable. Okay, so one should completely avoid it. Why? Because this Mayavadi philosophy, they end up in explaining that you can become God, which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. In bhakti, the aim is to revive our relationship of eternal servant, dasa. And here, the Advaita philosophy um, is been translated as you can become God. No, we have many times explained that you can never become God. You are godly. Godly means as much the qualities that are there in God, you also have it, but in minute quantity, and God has an unlimited quantity. So the Mayavadi philosophy should be avoided. Then what is unfavorable Krishna consciousness? If too much of mind and thinking is put into earning money, that is also unfavorable. Too much is unfavorable. Little bit maybe okay. Um, then let's take certain movies. Nowadays, most of the movies are unfavorable in one sense, right? because in those movies all the morality and all that is not followed, right? So the teachings that you get from those movies are not that good for character and for Krishna consciousness. So that is to be avoided, like that. Take care of food. What is favorable for Krishna consciousness? Food, vegetarian food, sattvic food. What is unfavorable? Non-vegetarian food, like that. So we go for each and everything and we start deciding, okay, what is good for Krishna consciousness, what is not good for Krishna consciousness. And this is a definition of surrender. One of the definitions of surrender. Bhava or birth should be understood to refer to body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death applies to one embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because his activity is sure to take him back home, back to Godhead in the spiritual sky. So a devotee is not having fear; he is having firm faith. Why? Because he knows that he is doing devotional service, so he'll go to Krishna. So he is not fearful; he is fearless because he knows his future is bright. Suppose we are taking admission in some college, but it's a very good college, very reputed college. You don't have any fear in entering that college, right? But if it is not reputed, you're in anxiety. What will happen? Will companies come? Will there be campus interviews, like that? So that fear is not there. So there are therefore in anxiety. If you want to get free from anxiety, the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, you will be free from all fears. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11 to 37, it is saying, Bhayam Dvita Abhineshvasataha Swata. Maybe we can just go there. Bhayam द्वितीयाभिनिवेशतः भयं द्वितीयाभिनिवेशतः विनिवेशतः स्वाद ईशात् अपितस्य विप्रयो अस्मृतः तन्माययो बुध अभाजेत तं भक्तैक्य. The word bhakti is coming. The bhaktekesham guru devatma. Fear arises when the living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of the absorption in external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his conscious position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildered, fearful condition is affected by the potency of or illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person who engages unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. So, fear is caused by absorption in illusory energy that I am this body, everything belongs to me. But those who are free from illusory energy, those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are spiritual parts and parcel of Krishna, and those who engage in transcendental service to Krishna have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This fear is condition of person who are not Krishna conscious. Abhayam, fearlessness is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness. Himsa, we discussed this. Himsa and non-violence means that one should not do anything which will put others into misery. So ahimsa, does it mean non-violence?
Yes, 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 yes.
Does it mean zero violence? Does it mean zero violence?
No, sir, no.
Yeah. So there's a difference between non-violence and zero violence. Zero violence means you don't do any violence. Non-violence is when you do necessary violence. To protect the weak from the evil, you have to be violent. Why? Because the evil never understands by reason and argument. It only understands danda. It only understands by some thrashing, some being violence. Getting? So ahimsa means necessary violence.
Yes.
Material activities that are promised by so many the politicians, socialists, philanthropists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for the human society. Ahimsa means that the people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body is achieved. See, full utilization of human body is achieved. Full utilization means what? Both the body, the material body, and the spiritual soul. Both should be fully utilized. Right now, in our whole education, only our material body is fully utilized. Throughout our life, we are learning only what? Physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, finance, everything related to the body. Anything related to the soul, to the atma, no. That's why we are half utilized. The human body is meant for spiritual realization. So any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence on the body. So if spirituality is absent, right, then it is violence. This is a very interesting concept. If we um, if we don't distribute the spiritual knowledge, then we are committing violence. We have to distribute the spiritual knowledge. It's like that. So violence has multiple meanings. One is necessary violence. One is we have to become violent to protect the weak from the evil. And third is we have to give knowledge, spiritual knowledge, especially spiritual knowledge, to uplift the people spiritually. If we don't give, then it is violence against them. Like, parents are there, but the parents decide that they won't educate their children. Is it good? No, right?
No, no
So
problem.
that is what they are being violent to their children. It's not physical violent, but being denying it is a violence. Like, a parent decides, I won't give medicine to my child. So the suffering of the child will increase, right? So
Yes, yes,
what is more violence? Not giving medicine? That is more violent, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So that's how we need to understand the word violence. Samantha, equanimity, freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not best. Samantha, equality. It means neither too attached, neither too detached. If you become too attached, then what happens? We may not be able to let go. We may not be able to let go things. If we are too detached, then we'll become miser. Then we'll become miser. Even with attachment, we can become miser. Even with detachment, we can become miser. What that means is, miserly people, he himself doesn't enjoy, neither he allows anyone else to enjoy. Right? That's the miserly people. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. It's called samanta, equanimity. Another definition: favorable, unfavorable. A person in Krishna has nothing to reject or nothing to accept, save in terms of its usefulness in the prosecution of Krishna consciousness. Tushti, satisfaction, means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activities. Satisfaction means I did my work legally, I got this result, I am happy with it. If there are ways of illegally earning money, earning name, fame, job, I won't enter into it. That is what satisfaction means. Long time back, it almost 20 years back, my friend was giving his final year exam, and he was a brilliant. He's a brilliant person. He would come first in the class. So in this final exam, what happened is, one day before, some of his classmates called him and they told him, The final exam paper is been leaked, and we have one copy. You can come and have a look at it, and you can pay us something. So my friend, he thought that no, I don't want to go into this unnecessary activity, so he didn't go into that. And later on, the paper was given, everything was given, and my friend came second in the university. He didn't come first in the university, he came second in the university. So if he had looked at the paper, then he would have come first, but that wouldn't have given him satisfaction. Satisfaction he was that he put his effort and he got what was his deserve, like that. He won't go for illegal means. One should be satisfied whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord, and that is called satisfaction. So one does do hard work, and then whatever comes, he accepts it as the grace of the Supreme Lord. But he doesn't avoid hard work. Okay, tapas means austerity, penances. There are many rules and regulations of the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning, taking a bath. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penances. Penances means you do voluntarily, you trouble your body. Like, like here, rise early in the morning. Nobody likes it. But if you do it, it is best for you. Similarly, there is fasting on certain days, like Ekadashi. Those days you fast, and that becomes the penances. Now, next Monday, Janmashtami is coming. Janmashtami is celebrated. So there is a fast on that day till midnight. If one does that, then that is called penances. One may not be inclined to practice such as fasting, but because of his determination to advance in science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such body troubles which are recommended. These are very small, small body troubles, and they help in overcoming the attachment to the body. Then one can easily focus on spiritual activities. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. So, fasting is given in the Vedic injunctions, but it is given for a particular reason and on a particular days. But sometimes some people fast, like Hartal, they'll be fast unto death, and they will challenge the government. I will die, I'll kill myself by fasting. You need to satisfy my demands, right? Such a kind of fasting is not recommended. If you have to deal with the government, deal it in a different way, not through using this fasting and all that. Hmm? Similarly, these are fasting which are in mode of ignorance and passion and do not lead to spiritual advancement. So if one does hartal to the government or in a factory or something like that, it has nothing to do with spiritual advancement. So therefore, fasting has to be done according to the Vedic injunctions, and the purpose is for increasing spirituality. As far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earning to some good cause. So at most 50%. Start from 1% to 50%. Whatever comes in hand, you donate it for a good cause. Now, what is a good cause? It is that which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness. Now, in some places like in America, there is Las Vegas. So they have charities to start a gambling house. That type of charity is not recommended. Why? Because the cause is not good. What is the cause? Gambling, jua khelna. It has never been good. So for such thing, you should never give charity. Agreed? Any questions on
Yes.
this?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Hmm. Similarly, sometimes we see beggars and they will say, give us 10 rupees, whatever. We can give, we can give money, right? But if we are in doubt that, this person misuse the money, then should we give the money or not? We may take the
No,
money,
no,
huh?
no problem. No problem.
But then we have to give.
Yeah.
Then what we should give?
Maybe some food item, but they will not take.
Whatever, food items,
Yeah.
clothings.
Yeah.
And if money you want to give, don't give large amount, give small amount only. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those charities are also good. Then we have to decide case to case. Thus, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. A highest charity is one who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, who is engaged in spirituality. To that person, we can give highest charity. Why? Because he's not going to go and buy bottle of alcohol. He will use it in Krishna's service, right? He'll use it in Krishna's service. Like to a Brahmana, if you give money, he will use it in his puja part, everything. According to the Vedic literature, it is enjoined that the charity should be given to the Brahmanas. The practice is still followed, although not nicely in terms of injunction, but still the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of knowledge, spiritual knowledge. A Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life to the understanding of Brahman. Brahma janatiti janatiti Brahmana. Brahma janatiti Brahmana. One who knows Brahman is called Brahman. Thus, charity is offered to the Brahmins because they are always engaged in higher spiritual service and have no time to earn their livelihoods. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one who is in renounced of life, sannyasi. A sannyasi begs from door to door not for money but for missionary purposes. The system is that one goes door to door to awaken the householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten the actual purpose of life, that is awakening their Krishna consciousness. It is the business of the sannyasis to go as beggars to the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in Vedas, one should be awake and achieve what is due him in his human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the Sampradayas, hence charity is to be given to the renounced out of life, to the Brahmanas, and similarly, and similar good cause, not to any whimsical cause. Yasha. Yasha means fame. Should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man who is famous when he is known as a great devotee. So the real fame is when we become a good devotee. Why? When we become famous in the eyes of
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah.
And Krishna is supreme and is
Correct.
eternal. So that is the real fame, right? So
Yes.
many
Yes.
famous people have died in last 50 years, 100 years. Do we remember all of them? No.
No. No.
No, right? Little
No.
bit we remember some of them, but not all of them, right? And
Yeah.
after 10 years, 20 years, they are forgotten.
Yeah.
So we should not be running after such kind of fame, which is so futile and temporary. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya said that a person is famous when he is known as a great devotee of the Lord, when he's a real bhakt. That is real fame. Because in every life, Krishna will always remember this is my devotee. But we won't remember this person was in his previous life the greatest person and all that. We won't be able to remember. Krishna remembers. That is real fame. If one becomes a great man in Krishna consciousness, and it is known that he is truly famous, one who does not have such fame is infamous. All these qualities are manifest through the universe in human society and the society of the demigods, that is Devata. There are various forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in devotional service of the Lord develops all the good qualities. So, when one is in bhakti yoga, then good qualities come within him. There are so many examples like that. We always discuss about Ratnakar, the Valmiki. How did Ratnakar become Valmiki Rishi? When he chanted the holy name of Lord Ram for many years. So, from a very bad qualities that he had as Ratnakar, he became Valmiki Rishi with such a good qualities. So, devotee automatically gets all good qualities actually. If he's sincere, right, he gets all those good qualities. Of whatever we find, good or bad, is the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in the material world which is not in Krishna. So everything manifests from Krishna. This is knowledge, knowledgeable. So this is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna. Okay, and go to the next verse. Maharshayah saptapurve chatvarto manavas tatha mad bhava manasa jati yesham loka imaha prayaha. The seven great sages and before them the three uh, the four other great sages and the manus come from me, born from my mind, and all the living uh, beings populating the various planets descend from them. Okay, we'll get into the purport. The Lord is giving the genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original created born out of the energy of Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all the seven great sages, and before them, four other great sages, namely Sanak, Sanatana, Sanananda, and Sanat Kumar. And the 14 Manus also manifested. All these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes and innumerable planets in each universe. And each planet is full of proportion of variety, different varieties. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penances for 1000 years of the demigods, called before he surrendered. Sorry, before he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. So, so what this verse is talking about is this. This is Hiranyagarbha Vishnu. From his navel comes Brahma. Okay, from his navel comes Brahma, and Brahma creates other. Sorry, where it is? Brahma creates other seven Rishimunis. Okay. Hmm. But ultimately, all of this is coming from Hiranyagarbha Vishnu. That is the aim of this shloka, to tell that everything comes from Krishna. In this way, all the Kshatriya Brahmanas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Krishna is known as Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. That is stated in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 11:39. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mam yogeti tatvatha so avikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshaya. One who is forcefully convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in devotional service, unalloyed devotions. Of this, there is no doubt. So, when one understands Krishna as a supreme, then he starts his devotional service to him, starts bhakti towards him. Okay, in the seventh verse. The highest summit of spiritual perfection is the knowledge of the Supreme Personality. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. In other religions, also it is said God is great and all, but how God is great, that explanation is not there. Whereas in Sanatana Dharma, Krishna comes and he does so many pastimes which shows his greatness. Okay, but in other religions, these details are not there. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one is factually knows the opulences of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender unto him. This factual knowledge can be known from the descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures. In the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout the planetary systems, and the chief of them is Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four other great Kumaras of the universe. And all of them are born of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The Supreme Personal Godhead Krishna is the original forefather of all objects. Any question at this point? Okay. There are some of the opulences of the Supreme Lord, but when one is firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt. And he engages in devotional service. All this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in the loving devotional service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is. For by renouncing the great uh, renouncing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. Okay. Any questions here? Now another four sets of verses that we'll read 8, 9, 10, 11. These are called as Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita condensed in four verses. This is what Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahma. Just four verses. Aham sarvasya pravo matah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samamita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, the wise who knows perfectly well. Engage in my devotion and worship me with all their hearts. Sorry. Okay. 10 minutes, but it's a long purport. Let's see how much we can complete. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya, who knows how to apply this teaching, can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual world. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other devatas. That is demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopal Upanishad 1 to 4, it is said that Yo Brahmanam Vidati Purvam Yo Vai Vedamscha. Gapayati Sma Krishna. Krishna, who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narada Upanishad says, "Ato Purusho ha vai Narayano." Then the uh, Supreme Personality Narayana decided to create the living entity. The Upanishad continues. These are very big verses. From Narada, Brahma is born. From Narayan, the patriarchs also born. From Narayan, Indra is born. From Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. And from Narayan, the 11 Rudras are born. And from Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. So these are some proofs from the Vedas that everything emanates from Krishna. Whoever it may be, man, human, animal, everything comes from Krishna. This Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. It is said that in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putra. Brahmanya, Namo Brahmanyaya. Okay. When the son of Devaki Krishna is the supreme personality, Narayana Upanishad. Then it is said, Eko Vai Narayana Asam. Okay. It's all pretty technical. In the beginning of creation, there was only the supreme personality Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, water, no money, no heaven, no earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. In the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that the Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of Krishna. Thus, the Vedas say it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. Okay. The patriarchs, the Shiva and other, are created by me. Although they do not know that they are created by me, and they are deluded by material illusory energy. Varaha Purana said, Narayan is the supreme, and from him Brahma was born, and from whom Shiva was born. So it tells who took birth from whom. Brahma from Vishnu, Shiva from Brahma. Like that. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way, of a bona fide spiritual master with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid the unauthorized commentaries and interpretations of Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Okay. In this Chatushloki, when in the very first verse, Krishna says he is the source of everything, source of material, spiritual world. Everything comes from him. Brahma comes, Shiva comes, the whole material world comes from him. To such a person, we know that everything is coming from him. Then we do devotion service and worship him. Just like if someone meets the owner of the factory, then uh, then we have seen, like, however the person may be, if he comes to know that some other person is the owner of the factory or something, then we change our attitude towards him. Why? Because we know he is a very important person. Similarly, Krishna is very important, and he has been giving us example. So therefore, we worship Krishna. Getting?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So let's open up for some questions or comments. Any question or comment?
Prabhuji, it was mentioned here that Shiva is born by from Krishna, from Narayana. Narayana.
Now, from the forehead of Brahma, when he became angry, na, that time Shiva came.
So, second, Prabhuji, I think in this text it was written Brahma from whom Shiva was born. Actually.
No, no, no. Narayan is the supreme personal Godhead from whom and from him Brahma was born.
Yeah.
From whom Shiva was born. From whom means from Brahma.
Hmm.
Like that it is.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Any other question or comment?
So, Prabhuji, in the first para, this, before this, where it is written in the Maha Upanishad, it is also said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Just the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped.
Sorry, what?
In the it is said in the same Vedas, yeah, in the end of this, it is said in the same Vedas, in the end, yeah, end of this paragraph, yeah.
Oh, end of
No, in
that
the
part.
same, that paragraph, said, yeah, Prabhuji, it is said that in the forehead of,
Supreme Lord. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So Bhagavatam says he came from the forehead of Brahma.
yeah,
Now, this reference needs to be looked at. So the thing is, now there are 11 kinds of Rudras. There are 11
mm,
Rudras. Okay. There is not just one. There are 11. So it could also mean that some of them came from the forehead of Krishna, and some came from the forehead. At least one came from the forehead of Brahma.
mm.
I will try to find out Maha Upanishad 1.2. Okay. If
Okay,
there is
correct.
information I can get, I will. Okay. Any other thought or comment or question? Okay. So we can stop here.